Hello and welcome to F1 2017 with me, Love Spuds, Part 4, Sochi, Russia. As you can see, we're doing quite well in the Constructors. The Drivers' Championship, we're third, and Renault is currently second. Just 2 points ahead of Mercedes, who are on a fight back, as Lewis Hamilton has put his car on pole today. See a bit of Daniel Ricciardo sitting there, looking pretty. He's in the top 6, I think. He's on the third row of the grid, if I remember rightly. But let's have a look at Spuds' lap then, as we go around the lap of Sochi. So we're currently in 11th place right now. You can see the delta was slightly up, but on the first bend here we lose a bit of time. Still operating within a tenth of a second here, but we need to get into the top 10 to have any chance of getting into Q3. But as you're looking at this right now, it's pretty obvious to those who regularly watch my videos, my F1 videos, that we did not get into Q3. But let's just see how this lap goes nonetheless. You can see it's actually quite difficult to see where the apexes are, especially when the sun is in your eyes. It adds a little bit of realism, I suppose. I suppose it's quite difficult for the drivers to see it in real life when the sun is shining right at them, but need to adapt and overcome those sort of situations when you're travelling at 200 odd miles an hour. So we're currently making up some time on our delta here. DRS is wide open as we drop to 12th. And engineers just telling us that Nico is faster than us. And that's really helpful in the middle of a lap. Braking nicely for the apex there as we go under the bridge, round the corner. There's a tricky turn coming up here. It's off camber. So as you turn in, Spuds gets it a little bit wrong there. Has to put corrective steering. Carried too much speed into the corner. But we are up 10th still, even if we did lose a couple of tenths there. So the last couple of corners can make up quite a bit of time. See, you can make 2 tenths up there. Nearly half a second now as we fly across the line, 4 tenths up on the previous time. That's good enough for 9th at the moment, but we got pushed down out just at the end of Q2 there, unfortunately. Let's have a look at the starting grid in just a moment. Here it comes. So Hamilton puts it on pole, Valtteri Bottas second, and 2 Mercedes blocking out the front row of the grid. Then come the 2 Ferraris, going a bit 2 by 2 here, as Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen, Ocon and Perez. And then it changes here. Hulkenberg, then Sainz, then Spuds, Magnussen in 12th. Top Haas with Daniel Kvyat down in 13th. 2 Williams, Massa and Stroll, Alonso, Van Dorn and 2 McLarens, and then the 2 Saubers, if I predicted correctly. Yes, there is. Alain Grosjean starts at the back of the grid. I assume because of a penalty he received in qualifying or some sort of engine issue. I have to apologise again. I forgot to get the replay footage, so here we go. All on board today, and as we get off the line, Spuds gets a bit of a horrible start there, sliding around all over the place, and is immediately falling victim to Kvyat and one of the Williams there, Stroll, just coming past in 12th. Magnussen as well. Get a warning there for collision with Stroll, even though it was just literally a tap. And Alonso comes up the inside, steals the place like he is very good at doing on race starts. But thanks to the lack of power in that Honda, he falls straight back down into 15th. Spuds loses that many positions on the first opening few corners here. Going side by side with Stroll on the super soft tyres. So he's easily outbrake him going around the corner here. Going up the inside. Taking it easy. Spuds is on the ultra soft, so hopefully he should have a speed advantage on the next few cars ahead of him. So he's got some work to do this afternoon. After that terrible start, he at least needs to get back to his teammate as soon as possible. That would be the ideal situation. So back up to 13th. Hopefully he can get back up to 12 by the end of the lap. But we shall see. Spuds has been on a decent run. He's, well, and Renault in general, they've been on a decent run. Being one of the emerging top midfield teams so far this season, with a little blip occasionally. Last time out in Bahrain they were 6th and 7th, which isn't that bad really, considering. Renault will be hoping that some future upgrades will propel them to the top of the midfield. Force India are coming back at them. They are looking strong today. And we're in the slipstream of Magnussen here, only 3 tenths away there. Tantalisingly close. He should be able to make a move into the first corner here. Gets into the slipstream and he goes around the outside as Magnussen slowly lists over to the right, and Spuds makes the move stick around the outside. Almost went a bit wide there, but held on to it. Good show there. So Kvyat's next car ahead in 11th, so should be pretty quick, but he might be held up by the guys in front. Spuds goes a little bit wide there. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. That will give Magnussen an opportunity to come up behind, but he just doesn't have enough track to get in position there. Spuds turned in a bit too early there, carried too much speed and went a bit wide on the exit, unfortunately. So has lost a little bit of ground, Kvyat there, but all is not lost. If Spuds can just get into a rhythm, he should be alright this afternoon, but you never know. You never know. Russia can be a bit hit or miss for Spuds. He does do well in the last sector, not so great in the second sector, but in the last sector he picks up and finds the time. Brakes quite well, as much as you want to cut off of that corner. You want to be patient in the last sector, that's the key, especially this off-camber corner coming up. Still taking it a little bit too much speed into there, but it'll do. He's hanging on. We're just going to fast forward to lap 3 now. You can see what state the engine's in, it's all yellow. But Kvyat should fall victim pretty soon. Looks like Spuds going to dive up the inside. And is he going to hold on to it? Kvyat tries to hold on the outside. Spuds just goes around the outside of the next corner. And suddenly, he's back up to 11th. Imagine what he could have done if he had a decent start. Anyway. What's done is done. And we're on the back of Hulkenberg. Pretty close near. DRS should be active as soon as we come round to the start-finish straight. 4/10 easily within range here, but Kvyat will also have DRS as well, so he might be one to watch out for as we come up to the first corner here. What can Spuds do from this far back? We know he's not too bad at lunges, but he's rightly decided that he's too far back and is just playing the long game here for a moment. Just playing the long game, seeing what Hulkenberg is up to. He doesn't seem to be making that much ground on Sainz, but he might just be waiting for an opportunity himself. Still a long way to go. Only 4 laps so far out of 27. Strategy could be a big player as well, depending on who comes in first. Will it be Hulkenberg or Spuds? We'll have to see. We're expecting a one-stop race around this circuit. And Spuds' objective is 9th. So he doesn't have to do much to reach his objective, but he would prefer to be higher up. But DRS is active. He's right behind Hulkenberg in the slipstream. Chances are he's going to make a move into this next corner. See the sparks flying off the bottom of Hulkenberg there. And Spuds comes up the inside a bit. Maybe he'll go round for the outside move here. Tries to cut back a little bit, but timed it a bit badly, so it has to slot back in behind Hulkenberg. It's given Hulkenberg a bit more room, considering he is his teammate. Yeah, Spuds can be a team player at times. Although he can be aggressive in some corners, he doesn't want to take his teammate out. The priority this year is to get Renault up the constructors' standings, because they are not a championship contending team just yet. Today, it's all about getting a good position, getting some good points on the board, and trying to stay up as high the constructors table as possible. So you can see Spuds got another round of DRS there, but hasn't been able to make a move. So Hulkenberg and Spuds are now up to 10th. I would assume one of the cars has pitted. Don't know quite who has pitted, but never mind. Either way, we're both in the top 10 now. And looks like Spuds is going to make a move into the first corner. DRS flap open. What can he do? He's closing in because Hulkenberg does not have any DRS. A little bit of indecision there from Spuds, as Hulkenberg did move around a bit, but he survives, albeit dropping down to 11th there. So he came off worse, unfortunately. He wasn't expecting Hulkenberg to do a little bit of a dance before the braking area, but you know, that's racing. That shit happens. Is Spuds going to dive up the inside? Yes, he is. He's holding it on in there, giving Kvyat enough room to work with, but gets back up into 10th, and that makes up for his previous mistake on the first bend there. It does look like Spuds has found a groove. And we'll be closing the gap down to Hulkenberg. He should have DRS. A little bit of a slide coming out the exit there, but it holds onto it nicely. Let's just see what he can do here. Is he going to make a lunge? Because he's got some speed on him. No, he's being semi-intelligent, but Hulkenberg makes a massive, massive inside right lock-up, and that costs him dearly as Spuds just flies around the outside into that off-camber corner there. Nicely done. Up into P9 now on lap 6. And although the start could have been better, he has recovered nicely. Can't ask for more than that just at the moment. And he's made already a 1 second gap on Hulkenberg, which protects him from DRS range. So Kvyat is up behind Spuds. Has managed to catch up. Spuds doesn't take the optimal line around that corner, and that leaves him open to Kvyat. He'll have DRS, and he'll come up around the left there, right in front. But can Spuds come back on him? Not just yet. Can he get a good run out of here? Kvyat is up ahead in 8th there. Still got the pit stops round to go. Bit of short shifting from Spuds just to get that traction down, get the rubber down. To get the best acceleration coming out of there. So, Spuds will easily have the DRS active now. Will he make a lunge? He's got some good speed. He's gaining up on Kvyat already. He's going to go up the inside. And can he make it stick? Yeah, it's given him enough room to work with. Almost a little bit too much, because Kvyat holds on in 8th position there. Good stuff. And almost goes into the back of him there. Spuds could have carried some extra speed around there if he was in the right position, but he's biding his time. Just choosing the opportunity. Maybe holding back for that DRS. Obviously not, as we move forward a little bit to the end of the lap. And he's waiting for the DRS on the first corner here. Hulkenberg has entered the pits. So Hulkenberg's made the first move out of the 2 Renaults. And Spuds will need to put the foot down. Doing well. There's someone coming out of the pits just ahead. Shouldn't be in the way. Nice big lunge into turn 1 there, and holds it nicely. No collisions, no dramas, just a position. Hamilton was the guy who just came out of the pits there. He's in 6th. Mercedes looking strong this weekend. They're looking very strong, looking to fight back against Ferrari, who have taken the first 3 races unopposed. Big lock up as Spuds going into the pits there. And he is in. In from 5th. We need to keep an eye on where Hulkenberg is. A lot of cars coming round to start-finish straight here. Quite a few of them still need to pit. Let's see what sort of job the guys can do here. So Spuds fits the red wall tyres, the super softs. It's coming out in 15th. Possibly. Could lose another position to whoever's coming through on the start-finish there. It's Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg just comes out in front of Hulkenberg. As long as Spuds holds the inside line here, doesn't overcook it, he should be absolutely fine. But Spuds is now under pressure from his teammate. The very talented Nico Hulkenberg does deserve a better car to work with. Unfortunately, he has set the record for the driver with the most races without a podium, which is very unfortunate. Here comes Hulkenberg. It's going to come round up the inside of this corner here. Can Spuds hold on around the outside? Bit of a tap between the two there. Spuds giving him room, but he will have the inside line here. Especially on the off-camber corner, that's really quite useful. Still a little bit side by side. Nico has managed to hold on in there, but he has to back out of it for now. Very good. Spuds 13th, Hulkenberg 14th. Sainz up ahead. Few cars still to pit, but things are going okay so far. So the pit stop phase is all but over. There's a long period of time where there was nothing going on there, and we're on lap 23 as Spuds has caught up to Sainz. Is within a second, should get some DRS here. Not quite sure what's happened to Hulkenberg, but Massa is now in 10th. A nice little gain there made on Sainz as he come around the first bend and round to the sweeping left-hander. Need to hold on to your neck because it is torture on the with the G-forces. It's easy for me to say that when I'm sitting in a living room with a controller staring at a screen, but these guys are super fit, especially in the necks like tree trunks. So closing up on Sainz here. Going to make the move, most likely in the next DRS zone. DRS zones are very, very useful for us. Making up some gains. Just holding on to the back of Sainz, waiting for their DRS. Flip open the flap. An easy move. And we're able to take roughly where the apex is. To take 8th position. Just behind Ricciardo, who's just up ahead. The Force India's going well. I can tell you now that they are ahead of Ricciardo. Not quite sure which positions, mind, but the Force India's, both of them, very strong. Two very strong drivers in Ocon and Perez as well. They are a force to be reckoned with, especially in this midfield battle between the Force Indias, the Renault, and anyone else that wants to get involved. The Haas are not quite as strong as they would like to be, but we'll see how their development goes. Max Verstappen has retired from the race. You can see his car just on the left there that has ghosted. And that's a very hard time for the Dutchman, who was only one lap away from completing the race. But that does promote everyone up a position. Ricciardo 6th, Spuds 7th, Sainz 8th. Maybe Hulkenberg or Massa just behind that. So you should have two Renaults up in the top 10. As long as there's no disasters on the horizon. So looking good so far. Going to get some decent points today. Looks like Spuds and or Renault will slip down the table a little bit. But that's just how it is at the moment. A lot of Renault's upgrades have gone on to reliability. Spuds is known for destroying engine parts pretty quickly. Goes pretty hard on the car just to try and extract the most performance he can out of it. Even if it is detrimental to the car, it has proved its worth so far in points. And that a magnificent podium on the first race. Spuds will hope to get back to the podium as soon as possible. But there's a lot of work involved. Especially in a team like Renault. So on the last lap, lap 27, Lewis Hamilton has won the race. Lewis Hamilton has broken the Ferrari dominance. Does this mean that Mercedes can come back as Spuds goes very wide there, but manages to hold on? So Lewis will be very, very happy with that. That will catapult him up the driver's standings. After a difficult few races. Did get the podium last time in Bahrain, but has now managed to catapult up to the top step. Jump up there. With a perfect race. Got the pole. Got the win. And now Spuds just needs to come through to collect 7th. Nearly losing it in the final sector here. But has collected himself again. Just 2 more corners to go now. Fuel's almost run dry. Penultimate corner. Checkered flag just around here now. Spuds comes around the final bend to take 7th position here today. Not a bad result, considering he was only expecting to get 9th, 7th. He'll take that. Not too shabby. But anyway, here's the winner. Here's Toto Wolff celebrating in a magnificent Mercedes 1-2 because Bottas finished 2nd. But there you go. There's our man today, Lewis Hamilton, taking the top step. And a congratulatory clap from Sebastian Vettel behind there. So good work from the Mercedes boys. Back on top again. And a good drive from Esteban Ocon there. All in pink. But here we are. There's the classification. Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel, Perez, Ocon, Ricciardo, Spuds, Sainz, Massa, Hulkenberg. Complete your top 10 there. Then we go down to the final end of the grid. Grosjean, Magnussen, Kvyat, Stroll, Alonso, Wehrlein, Van Dorn, Ericsson, and Verstappen and Raikkonen did not finish the race. Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap. So here's driver standings. Sebastian Vettel still at the top on 90 points. Lewis Hamilton takes second, splits the two Ferraris, 32 points behind Vettel there. Spuds in fourth. And there's the bottom end as well. Unfortunately, the McLarens and the Saubers yet to get off the mark. Just have a quick look at the constructors' standings. Ferrari sitting pretty on top there. Mercedes move up to second, Renault down to third. Force India move up to fourth, replacing Red Bull. And the rest are non-movers there. So there you go. All that remains for me to say is thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time in Spain for round 5. Well done to Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. I'll see you then.